So, Apple announced AI features again?
I beg your pardon?
Hey, Future Rising here. Guess who decided to upload a video about a month late? It's this guy right here. But surprisingly, this video still holds a good deal of relevance, considering that as of Monday, July 13th, the iOS 27 public beta, along with the other operating system upgrades, have finally been released. So if you're willing to take the plunge and install the public beta on your personal device, which I personally don't recommend, but hey, you do you. You can experience all of the new things that iOS 27 has to offer. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but my personal favorite thing is that you can now finally separate the volumes for different things. Now, your alarm clock doesn't have to be as loud as your ringtone, or your ringtone doesn't have to be as loud as your timer. Finally, I don't know why it took them so long to add this, but hey, it's here. I'm not complaining anymore.
But I want it now!
Alright, and we can't forget about AirPods Pro getting EQ. That is also very nice. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this video for what it is, and deepest apologies for uploading this an entire month late. But once again, you can still enjoy it, because these features are still not out to the full public. This thing still has a month left until it hits the mass audience. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. This is Future Rising, signing out. So WWDC was pretty recent, and just like the rumor said, most of the event was going over the new Siri, new features, and the fixes and improvements coming to new OS. But what I personally didn't see coming was the segment about child safety. That aside, let's just get into it.
Oh shit, here we go again.
In the first few minutes of the event, Apple just casually dropped the name of the next version of macOS, and that it'll be called, drumroll please, Golden Gate. Yes, like that Golden Gate. They would then go on to talk about focusing on refining the overall experience rather than releasing flashy new features like they normally do. Just to name a few, AirDrop transfer speeds are up to 80% faster, loading new photos up to 70%, and up to 5 times faster browsing in the Files app for iPadOS. Remember, they're claiming it's up to 80% faster. I'm just saying, that up to seems very important to remember here. They also talked about iOS 27 getting a brand new CPU scheduler, meaning your devices are basically going to run more optimized than they were before. And get this, iOS 27 is available on every device that got iOS 26 last year, meaning the iPhone 11 and SE, second generation, is also getting 27 as well. Remember people, the 11 came out in 2019, and the SE2 just 7 months later. I say all this to say that I feel like a lot of people were speculating whether the iPhone 11 or even the iPhone 12 was going to get iOS 27 or not. So the fact that they're supporting all of their devices again this year, even something as old as the iPhone 11, is not surprising, but just a little exciting to say the least. Something else I almost forgot to mention was that Apple talked about liquid glass, saying that it was going to be able to better diffuse what's behind it to ensure that the text is actually readable, which is nice considering which, at least in my opinion, it was one of the actual flaws of liquid glass, at least in the earlier versions. Not to mention that they actually listened for once and gave us a liquid glass slider. Finally!
Finally!
After nearly a year of people complaining online, you can now choose whether you want your liquid glass to look even more clear or fully tinted. Now me personally, that slider's going all the way to the right. Now look, I'm not even saying that I straight up hate liquid glass. Ultimately, it's something I could get used to if I just absolutely had to, but it's just not my cup of tea overall. Another thing that may or may not have went under the radar was that Spotlight Search basically got an entire revamp. Long story short, they basically rebuilt, or in their words, re-architected the search index to be more efficient and more thorough of both new and existing content on device. This way you can just search for things better using Spotlight Search. They even did something very similar to the Mail app as well. The next portion of this event, which I didn't see coming, was about child safety. Now look, I'm no parent, so I really don't know much about this from first-hand experience, but from what I've heard, the parental controls on iOS and other Apple devices have just been decent at best. So I can only assume that we're getting an entirely new system of parental controls is a good thing, and we're just gonna keep it that way. In the event, they announced that they're adding a brand new child account for kids, filled to the brim with parental controls, permissions, and other guardrails to protect kids from not so safe content. For starters, the child account is intended for children under the age of 13, but it can also be extended until they turn 18 as well. As far as features go, you can set up a list of apps the child can or can't use. You can also set limits for how long they can use certain apps on certain days. So you can set little Timmy's iPad to have games for only 1 hour on weekdays, and then maybe 3 hours on weekends. Or completely lift restrictions if you go on a trip or something. I don't know. With the feature called Ask to Browse, the kid will also have to ask for permission to do certain things, like installing new apps, going to certain websites, even talking to new people through messages or FaceTime will need the okay from parents. Another feature that I feel like people may or may not have forgotten about was communication safety. To make this part pretty quick, this feature's been around since 2021, and what it basically does is that it blocks out any potential nudity in apps like iMessage, FaceTime, and even things sent via AirDrop. With that in mind, I can only assume this will be active by default on a child account. I can't see why it wouldn't be. They even announced that the developers themselves can join in and add the other features like Ask to Browse and communication safety into their apps. And now, we move on to the main event. And that is...
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up.
Apple announced that they will be launching a new and improved Siri that they're calling Siri AI. Get it? AI? Apple Intelligence? Just saying. This version of Siri made with Apple Intelligence basically lets you ask it more complex questions and have more deeper conversations. Oh, and Siri would just be smarter overall.
He said it, he said it.
Ultimately, it'll be one of the largest upgrades Siri has ever gotten in its history. Now, as excited as I am about this, I do believe we have every reason to be skeptical, considering that Apple boasted about Apple Intelligence 2 years ago, and, well, look how that turned out.
Big fella!
Now they're actually paying the price of basically delivering false promises. But unlike the event 2 years ago, they actually did an entire demo of Siri, which gives me just a little bit of hope. Just a little bit. In the demo, they basically showed Siri being able to follow up on questions, and then executing an action related to said question, like setting a reminder, playing music, or setting a route for you in Maps. And with the better indexing in iOS 27, Siri can now even find photos with certain subjects or people in them. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed or not, but Siri has its own icon now. Within the app, you can actually set the tone and pace of Siri's voice, which is nice for people who might think Siri speaks too fast or too slow. They also mentioned that things you do with Siri will be saved in the app so that you can come back to it later. In other news, they also revealed that Siri will now be able to go full screen, and with that capability, you'll now be able to type to Siri instead of just talking. As nice as it is to talk to Siri, I find it interesting because I could have sworn that it was already a feature you could access. Although this feature was buried in settings, so I doubt it was widely known or used. They also mentioned that Siri could also be utilized across multiple apps in iOS, like Messages. But one app they focused on in particular is the camera. One example they used was taking a picture of a receipt and then asking Siri to split the bill between multiple people. I honestly could see people using this quite often. All of this sounds awesome, amazing, right? But as you can imagine, there are some things to be aware of. And one of those things is compatibility. Towards the end of the event, they mentioned that Siri AI would only be compatible with a handful of devices. For example, the oldest iPhone to support Siri AI would be the iPhone 15 Pro. and the oldest iPad would be the M1 iPads, as well as M1 Macs, except the Mac Pro, which has the M2 Ultra chip. For the rest of the event, they mainly talked about other things that Apple Intelligence will be able to do outside of Siri AI. Something that really struck me curious was that Apple will now be able to log into your account and change your weak passwords into strong ones. I mean that literally. Apple would literally be able to go on Safari, log into your account on whatever platform or website that is, and change your password in the event that your password may be weak or compromised in a data breach. But at the same time, this might suck for someone like Grandma, since she might have a simple password that Apple considers weak. Then she may not be able to log in on that same platform on, say, a smart TV or a computer. Apple Intelligence will now also try to predict what you might want or need to do in certain situations. For example, pulling up pictures of your vacation and messages, or pulling up something in your mail, or setting a reminder, or even pulling up information or confirmation codes while on a phone call. Look, doing this over text was already good. Doing it on a phone call is nuts. Another thing they mentioned was their new editing software. Long story short, they're improving their Magic Eraser, which is nice because from what I've heard, it's something. They also announced the tool where you can change the angle and in some cases the depth of a photo. I've heard pretty mixed things on it. Some people think it's cool, some people don't really like it, so honestly, mileage may vary here, like everything else on this list. The last thing that I found interesting is that Safari will now let you create, or in their words, describe an extension. Long story short, you can now create extensions for, I guess, specific purposes in Safari. For example, I could create an extension to let me know if a price has changed on Amazon on, say, Ram Sticks or car soap or a new hoodie I saw. In conclusion, or TLDR, WWDC was filled with what we mostly expected. The new versions of operating systems, the new Siri, the new Apple Intelligence features, and the unexpected segment about improving child safety features. Overall, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Siri AI will become in the next few months. And I'm actually glad they're going to improve everything overall. However, it all comes down to whether execution is good or not. Because if it isn't, well...
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Alright, after credits, after show, whatever you want to call this. I also forgot to mention that I saw that people were not happy with the fact that the Apple Watch Series 6, 7, and 8, along with the Apple Watch Ultra 1, being discontinued from the support lineup. And honestly, rightfully so. I mean, the first gen Apple Watch Ultra came out in 2022. This is only 4 years old, people. This is an $800 watch that is only 4 years old, and it's already gotten dropped from support lineup. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be a little pissed too. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you'll stick around for the next. Because as I said last time, I have so much to catch up on. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you, beautiful people, next time. Later.